Hey friends, welcome to Universal Studios Florida and Halloween Horror Nights 2023. We're going to take you inside Universal Studios and we're going to show you everything that Halloween Horror Nights has to offer, the scare zones, food and the atmosphere and things like that. We can't take you inside the houses because we don't have media credentials, although I would definitely love to get those at some point in the future. So Universal, if you're listening, help a guy out, it'd be nice. The scare zones this year are all kind of connected. We've got an icon called Dr Oddfellow. Now Dr Oddfellow has taken over the park for Horror Nights and he has unleashed his hell across the resort. So you've got the first scare zone right at the beginning where we will meet Dr Oddfellow, and then we'll take a trip through his history as we make our way around the park, encountering him in each of the scare zones as we go round. You do also have Dr Oddfellow in a house as well along the way, and that is Dr Oddfellow's Twisted Origins. So we've got a few bits and pieces going on throughout the park, and then we do have 10 houses in total. So we've got 5 what are classed as intellectual property houses, and we've got 5 original houses as well. Now the 5 intellectual property houses that you have start with Stranger Things, based on season 4. You've got The Last of Us, you've got Chucky, you've got Universal Monsters Unmasked, and you've also got The Exorcist. Now The Exorcist is based on the new version of the film, The Exorcist Believer. Now that is not out in cinemas as we're recording this, so they've hyped that as kind of a trailer for the film. So it's going to be a lot of fun. And then you've got those 5 original houses. Now we're going to be reading these off a list quickly. We've got Blood Moon Dark Offerings, that's an original house. You've got Dr Oddfellow's Twisted Origins, as we mentioned. You've got Dueling Dragons, Choose Thy Fate. Now Dueling Dragons is based off of a ride that was in Islands of Adventures prior to, when the Wizarding World of Harry Potter opened over there, there was a ride called Dueling Dragons. So you've got that as well. You've got The Darkest Deal, and then you've got Yeti Campground Kills. So you've got quite a variety of houses there. And we're going to go and take you through Halloween Horror Nights, and we'll experience all of the houses, and we'll give our rankings and what our top 3 houses are at the end of the time here at Horror Nights. We've got a few nights that we're going to experience, and then we'll also tell you what our bottom house is as well. It's going to be a lot of fun. The scare zones that you have, they start right at the beginning, as we said, and we've got Dr Oddfellow's Collection of Horrors. As we move round, then we've got Dark Zodiac. We then come up against Jungle of Doom Expedition Horror, and then Shipyard 32 Horrors Unhinged. We finally finish in New York with Vamp 69 Summer of Blood. So you've got some cool sounding scare zones there. There are a few additional entertainment elements throughout. You've got Death Eaters that are in Diagon Alley. I hear there's going to be a horde of Megans, the dolls from the Blumhouse film that came out a little while back. And then you've also got a show called Nightmare Fuel Revenge Dream. And that's a pyrotechnic stunts dancing show. So it's sure to be a lot of fun. We have a lot to cover, and we've got a few days to do it in, so there will be a few changes of attire throughout as we experience it across a few nights and give our thoughts and feelings after the fact. So hopefully you guys do enjoy the video throughout, and if you do, give us a thumbs up. I do appreciate it. It really does help us out a lot, and it would be great if you could hit the subscribe button and the bell icon to be notified when we post all new videos. Let's step into the fog of Halloween Horror Nights 2023. Here we are, Universal's Halloween Horror Nights. So, for the IP houses, we've got Stranger Things, we've got The Exorcist Believer, that's based on the brand new film, which actually isn't out yet, so this is going to be an interesting one. They've pegged it as kind of a trailer for the film. You've got The Last of Us, based on the video game for PlayStation, as opposed to the TV show. You've got Chucky, and then you've got Universal Monsters Unmasked. We've got Surfer Boy Pizza. This one looks like Yeti. Bloody Campground Poutine. And then we've got the Last of Us Fedra Booth. Twisted Taters. 40 ups. Corn dogs.
So now we're at the Navy. There we go.
So this is the Stay and Scream queue for New York, which will get us into Stranger Things. It'll get us into Dueling Dragons, and it will get us into Yeti Campground Kills. So this is 15 minutes until Stay and Scream opens. We've been in the queue for about 30 minutes at this point. This is a different day that I'm recording this part because I was on my own the first day I did Stay and Scream. But it gives you kind of an idea as to how early you should get in. We are right at the front, and we got there about 10 past or quarter past 3. Stay and Scream opens at 4.
The end of the line is right here, guys.
As you heard, end of the line. And that's like, that is the Stay and Scream zone there. So we're in the queue, I guess, to join the queue. We're in the queue for the Stay and Scream zone for New York. New York will go into Stranger Things, The Exorcist Believer, and Dueling Dragons. So 2 of those are my most highly anticipated mazes of the event, with Stranger Things and Dueling Dragons. Dueling Dragons is based on the ride that was over at Islands of Adventure prior to Hogsmeade being created. So I'm pretty stoked for that one. There's 2 sides to it. You've got fire and ice. Go through half the maze and then you split off into fire or ice, which is pretty cool. It's 3:30 now. They're going to let the queue in at 4, and then you'll queue to get into the house, basically. The operations are okay, but it's weird. Very busy, obviously, with Stranger Things. So, it's gonna be a busy night. Just made it into the Stay and Scream zone, and just following the crowds, basically. Wrapping us back around. So we've gone for one of those cordyceps corn dogs, which is a Korean cheese dog with crispy potato sticks, truffle cream sauce. Looks pretty good. We've just gone for the mummy Cheesecake Pop, and this was just shy of $7, including tax. Looks pretty cool, actually. So you got the mummy bandages on there with chocolate, white chocolate. I'm guessing they're supposed to be like the eyes. Maybe they were Smarties or something and they melted slightly, but it looks good. And that's a cookies and cream cheesecake. Okay, so Roundup so far, we've done 4 houses. We did Dueling Dragons, Choose Your Fate, as the first house. We chose ice. You do actually get to choose your fate, fire or ice. And ice was pretty cool. It's actually only like 30 seconds at the end, which changes. It's not like a real big difference in the overall maze at all. The majority of it's the same, and then you just choose fire or ice right at the very end. Yeah, it was really good. There was ice. It was cold in there. That was nice, especially after coming out of the Florida sun. So Dueling Dragons, I gave a 7 out of 10. That's my personal opinion. I really liked the set designs as I went in there. I thought like there was some insane looking set pieces. It was just really good walking through. Like, you go through the entrance to what was previously Dueling Dragons, basically, and you do have a fire dragon and an ice dragon like showdown there, which is awesome to see. The next one I jumped into was The Exorcist Believer, and that was a bit of a weird one because it's not necessarily based on anything that's present right now. The Exorcist Believer is the sequel to the original Exorcist that's going to come out later this year, I think middle of October, so this kind of serves as like a trailer to the film, and I think if we're talking about it as a trailer to the film, it gave away far too much, but the sets were fantastic. There were so many jump scares in there. The scare actors were brilliant at like playing the part. They just did a fantastic job. So I gave that one 8 out of 10. Maybe a little bit high. Maybe it should have been a 7, but I personally just really enjoyed it. The next one was Yeti Campground Kills, and that was a really good house. The costumes were fantastic to see, but to me, I found a lot of it more to be funny than scary. So there weren't a lot of like actual jump scares in there. The sets were fantastic. Again, you were going through like log cabins and things like that in the woods. It was a cold house as well, which is always really nice, as we said with Dueling Dragons. And there were a couple of like fairly, I don't know, they're not unique scares because they happen every year here, but you just don't see them that often, like hanging in front of you, things like that. As I said, the costumes are cool, but it was just to me personally, I found it to be a funny house because it was like really over the top, cliche type thing. So I gave Yeti Campground Kills a 6 out of 10. So the next one was the big one, the one that sells this event for a lot of people this year, and that is Stranger Things Season 4. So this was the one with Eddie and the guitars and all things like that. You had the little bats, the upside down bats and all sorts. So there were some fantastic sets in there. In terms of like the lab scenes where you had 11 and 1, you had the guitar scene, where the Metallica guitar scene did happen in there. Vecna throughout was really cool. His costume was fantastic. And it's just, it really is kind of like a loving tribute to the show. Now, I gave it 8 out of 10 because I think there could have been heavier use of the clocks and the ticking. That was such a pivotal part of Season 4, and I just don't think it was used very well. And also, it was kind of, there were a lot of kind of like black corridors in there, which I didn't personally enjoy. I don't like that. I don't like that in Hollywood, although the last time we went to Hollywood, they got a little bit better about it. The set designs were fantastic when they were filled in, but there were parts where it was like a lot of empty spaces. When you head into the Upside Down and Vecna's realm, there are a lot of empty spaces there. Now, some of that could be due to the nature of Vecna's realm being quite a wide open space, but they didn't really design the walls and things like that very well. It was just a couple of set pieces here and there, but overall I did enjoy the house, and that's why I gave it an 8 out of 10. And I enjoyed the house because I'm a Stranger Things fan. So, if you're a Stranger Things fan, you're going to love it. If you're not really a Stranger Things fan, then it's neither here nor there for you. It's probably not going to be one of your favourite houses. Alright, so we got ourselves a pepperoni pizza skull. This one's a bit squished here. He looks like he's had his head kicked in. That's how he died. This was $8.99, and this was at the booth here next to Gramercy Park.
And that's the inside, just in case you wanted to see.
Oh yeah, Becky's been very kind to show you a cross-section of this. What do you think of it?
Really nice, actually.
Really nice?
Pepperoni.
So we picked up a couple of items. This is from the Yeti booth over by the main bar in Gramercy Park. So we've gone for the Bloody Campground Poutine, which is crispy fries topped with Asian-inspired gravy. It's got char siu roasted pork, cheese curds, scallions, and crispy chilies. So that's the char siu pork. You've got peanuts on there as well. You've got crispy chilies. This looks good. It looks like it's going to be spicy though. And then we've also gone for a Halloween Horror Nights Blinky Cup, because you need a Blinky Cup at Halloween Horror Nights. And this is the Electric Death. This was $16.50 with the Blinky Cup. And we're just reading it from the thing here. So this is New Amsterdam Gin, Blue Curacao, Lime Juice, Vanilla Bean, Simple Syrup, Pineapple Juice, and Dale Degroff's Pimento Bitters. And then you get to keep the cup for $16.50. Refills are like $12.50. And yeah, so you're essentially saving £4 if you want. If you get it without the blinky cup, it is cheaper anyway, because the blinky cup is a slightly bigger portion. So the Campground poutine was $9.99. We got $1 off the parcel discount. There's no discount available on alcoholic beverages, so it came to $27.15 including tax. So I'm gonna give this a try. I've got a bit of the gravy in there, got peanut. Let's try and get a cheese curd and a bit of char siu pork as well, so we get everything. The char siu pork is super tender. The chips are a little bit soft, or the fries, let's say fries, we're in America. Fries are a little bit soft, but they are covered in that gravy. The gravy tastes slightly different to what it would be for like, you know, normal poutine. It's not that kind of roast dinner gravy that you'd get normally. The peanuts in there are a little bit strange because it gives it slightly different texture. But I think overall, like it all molds together quite well. So also wanted to give you an idea of the pepperoni pizza skull. And that, so from the outset, I thought that was going to be like quite dry and quite dense. But the reason the skull had caved in is because inside it was just like, it was like a calzone, basically on the inside. So much pepperoni, so much marinara, cheese was like oozing out of it. It was a really great snack to have. So we've had a few items, and then we'll top it off with an electric death. That's sweet. That's nice. So this year, unfortunately, Mels is closed for refurbishment, but they've set up the bar here to be essentially Mels dine. So we just come here and get what would have been over there. So I really want this peanut bludder burger. So we've gone for the peanut bludder burger, and then we've gone for the confetti battered cookies, and these are Oreo cookies battered in funfetti with ice and sugar on top. Got a bottle of water as well. It came to $28. Forgot to ask for parcel discount as well, so that's my own doing. It's quite small. The burger isn't big at all. It's a little bit bigger than a slider. It's like a smashed beef patty with cheese, bacon, jam, jalapenos on the blood burger, on the blood bun. So we're going to give this a try. It's an interesting looking burger because it's got all the jam over the top of it. Strawberry jam. This is a weird combination. It's still a weird combination. The sweet and the savoury of the jam and the burger is very strange, but it does go. You've got a spicy hit from the jalapenos as well. I don't know what this is. It's like char grilled on top. It's, once again, very sweet. The burger bun is a nice touch. I would order it again. So we've also gone for the confetti battered cookies. These are battered and fried Oreos dusted with powdered sugar. These are $7.49. I'm imagining these are going to be quite dry, because Oreos are typically dry anyway, but let's give it a taste. I am so very wrong. They are so soft. They taste like Oreos that have been dipped in milk and then fried. So soft. They're really nice. I love Oreos anyway, so getting battered Oreos in funfetti batter is just, it's a dream. It's a dream. I would 100% get those again. Here we've got the facade for Universal Monsters Unmasked. So this, we're venturing into the Paris catacombs. We can come face to face with all the monsters that you see in the image here. The Men in Black facade looks fantastic, lit up with the kind of zodiac signs of sorts. just behind the tree there. It's actually also got HHN written on the side of it as well, so it's very, very cool. That is open during Halloween Horror Nights as well. So here we've got the facade for The Last of Us. We've got Joel and Ellie and a clicker, based on the PlayStation version rather than the TV show. So we just did 2 more houses. We did Universal Monsters Unmasked, and this is monsters in Paris catacombs. You had the Invisible Man, you had the Wolf Man, you had Phantom of the Opera, all those kinds of things. And the opening scene as you enter the warehouse there was absolutely phenomenal. A little bit of a water effect in there. It's a high up set. The set itself was huge. A couple of really good scares as well with the Invisible Man. Go figure, funnily enough. And Wolfman there throughout as well was really cool. You did also have the Hunchback of Notre Dame, which was really cool to see because he doesn't really pop up as a monster that often. It was interesting to have him in there and see him playing such a pivotal part. So I gave that one an 8 out of 10. Again, all of these are personal preference. It was just one that I really enjoyed. The next one was one that I was super excited for, and it did not disappoint, and that was The Last of Us. Now, this is based on the video game as opposed to the HBO or, if you're in the UK, Sky TV show, and it's a little bit different. The house was incredibly long. It just kept going on and on and on and on and on, and that is in a good way as well. The sets were fantastic, taking place in, I think it was Pittsburgh. You know, you had a scene with a crash car in there. You had like bathrooms, you had streets, all sorts, and then you had clickers popping out everywhere. You had Joel and Ellie throughout, but I don't think they were used as much as they should have been. They were only in there like 1 or 2 times, but just such a well executed house. I think if you play the video game in particular, there were people coming out behind me that were talking about like Easter eggs from the video game, and they were like really, really super excited. And I just, you know, having not played the video game and having just seen the TV show, I enjoyed it in my own right, just from that sense. So I can't even begin to imagine how it must be walking through that if you are a fan of the video game, because it's such a popular series of games. And yeah, I think they've really done justice to actually both the game, and as a fan of the show, they've done justice to the show as well. So I gave that one a 9 out of 10. So based on the houses tonight of Dueling Dragons, Exorcist, Yeti, Stranger Things, Universal Monsters, and Last of Us, The Last of Us is at the top. And then Stranger Things probably up there, Universal Monsters, and Exorcist. I did enjoy Exorcist, even though, you know, it's a bit of a funky one, but I loved Exorcist. I honestly think Blood Moon Dark Offering is like a 9 out of 10. Fantastic scares. The sets were just unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. Like 2-story sets in there, 3 stories in some cases. You're looking up, you're looking around, you're so immersed in that storyline. The storyline essentially is like sacrifice for the Blood Moon. Obviously they go into a bit more detail than that. There's a Discover Universal podcast that you should check out on like Spotify or Apple Podcasts or something, and that's got like so much detail on these mazes. Just unreal. Such a good maze. 9 out of 10 for me. I gave The Last of Us 9 out of 10 as well. Wow. Like, I don't know. That was really cool. for obviously different reasons than The Last of Us. The Last of Us, I'm there because I'm invested in the show, which mirrors the game. So that's why I loved that one. And the sets were great on The Last of Us as well. But Blood Moon Dark Offering was just an all-around great maze. Probably going to ride Chucky now, which is in the queue for Fast and Furious Supercharged. Blood Moon Dark Offering was up front of the park, between Minion Mayhem and the main gift shop. We've also got some food offerings here. Chucky Killer Treats. We got fried till the end chicken, which is fried popcorn chicken, tossed in Nashville hot sauce, and then drizzled with ranch topping. And then we've got Chucky's Dead Popcorn, which is flaming hot Cheeto flavored popcorn. And actually, the booth itself is just incredible. Like, unreal.
Are we going?
So we got the Megan Horde doing a dance session here. They finished the dance session and people are allowed to take pictures with them. So you got 6 of them, they're doing a little dance show. Just here in front of Cafe La Bamba and Mels Bar. Now they're going to take them back in to recharge their batteries because they've drained themselves.
So I'm recording this on my phone because the battery died on my camera and I forgot my spare batteries like an idiot. Just come out of Chucky Ultimate Kill Count, which is in the Fast and Furious Supercharged ride, like in the show building and around the show building and stuff like that. We give that a 6 out of 10. Personally, I enjoyed it, but it felt like really kind of cheaply made. It didn't have the same set vibes that the rest of the houses have had recently. All of the other houses have felt like really well put together, really top quality, expensive set design. This one just felt like they'd tucked up some plywood and stuff like that and painted it. Now, there were a few really awesome elements. Chucky was very prevalent in there. The real Chucky. He was all over the place, talking to you, and I like that. I did have a couple of really good scares in there, but it didn't vibe with me, the house, which is a shame because I just watched the TV show Chucky 1 and 2, season 1 and 2, and I loved the TV show because it was just like stupid, but this is, I'm slightly disappointed. But I had a feeling it would be kind of like campy, stupid, funny anyway. The whole idea of it is that Universal's making a Chucky house. He's disappointed in their version of Chucky house, comes and just kills everybody basically. And I don't know if that premise works very well. I think it would have been better to just kind of have a rehash of Chucky, the show as a whole. But 6 out of 10. It's definitely not up there for me. Probably wouldn't go through it again. Put it that way.
So we've just come into the old Fear Factor live stage and we've got Nightmare Fuel Revenge Dream. This is a show that's on 4 times a night. So this is the first one tonight at 8 o'clock, then you've got one at 9:30, one at 11, and then you've got one at 12:30 p.m. as well. So it's filling up quite quickly here. We are in the show about 10 minutes beforehand, but we would queue in from about 30 minutes before outside. It's the first showing of the night, so
wondering how busy it'll be before the houses start to really get busy later on. So we've got another food offering here. We've got the butternut and duck gallet, and that's a duck confit and roasted butternut squash filled pastry garnished with buckshot candies. And this is $9.99. This is from the food truck that's here just on the edge of Springfield, USA, home of The Simpsons. So you've got the, I didn't know what buckshot candies meant, and that's those little silver balls. You've got the butternut squash in there. The weird thing with it, like those are those like candies that you put on top of cake, but I think it's got like a maple syrup over the top, and that is not on the description at all.
What's supposed to make it Halloweeny then?
I have no idea. I have no idea what's supposed to make it Halloweeny. This is $9.99, as I said. Also at the cart, you've got the Witch's Spell Cauldron Stew, which is green teal and chicken stew served with scallop and cornbread. On reflection, I feel like that probably would have been a better option. Less weird, at least. And then you've also got vegan churritos with ice cream, which are vegan churros served with vegan gelato, coconut nectar, and Oreos. So, yeah, on reflection, I think I should have gone for the Witch's Spell Cauldron Stew, but
it's a bit hot for a stew.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So as you can see, you've got like all of the maple syrup on the tray there. Give it a try. It's like a weird pastry. The sweetness completely disappears as soon as you bite into that, and then you just get hit with salt. And inside it, like you break it apart, there's loads of duck in there, loads of butternut squash, and then it's just salty. So it's a weird combination, but it really works. I probably wouldn't get it again. The pastry's really crumbly, so it's like drying up the inside of my mouth. So I'm definitely gonna need a drink after this, but it's not bad. So the next house we did was Dr Oddfellow's Twisted Origins, and that was a very, very interesting house. It was in a sprung tent, which is like a non-permanent structure. Although they've been around for so long at this point, they may as well just make them permanent. It's located just behind the Men in Black show building. This house was something else. I've given it a 9 out of 10, so I'll throw that out there right at the top. 9 out of 10. The reason for that is it felt so intimate going through the house. There's like a little bit of a setup of a story at the beginning from Dr Oddfellow, and then it feels like you're going backstage at a circus, and you're going through all the circus performers, like changing rooms, dressing rooms, and things like that. Spooky, and it really went, like, I loved it. The intimacy of it is what I really enjoyed. It was so tight and cramped in there. They'd really utilised all of the space. Even, you know, it looks like they'd put a little bit of an entrance out at the beginning, and they'd made that as if you were going, think of it like those films, like the old school, where they've got like a country house and they hang the washing out on the line, and you see people like going like that to go through the washing, and it really worked, and it kind of ties the event together as a whole, with Dr Oddfellow essentially taking over the event, the scare zones, and then obviously he's got his own house. There were little Easter eggs in there to Jack Schmidt as well, Jack the Clown, and you had Chance, I believe. Could be wrong there, but that's what I'm thinking, and it just really worked well for me. So we then also went and watched Nightmare Fuel Revenge Dream as well, and that was an acrobatic, pyrotechnic, fire, magic, dance kind of show. It was just a weird amalgamation of everything. Every single performer in that show looked like they were giving it their absolute best. It was over the top. The music was really good as well. They started with Welcome to Black Parade by My Chemical Romance, and you know, I think the age demographic of the audience meant that you had at least 70% of the audience singing along at the top of their lungs to Welcome to the Black Parade. It had a good story as well. The girl was essentially escaping her nightmares and wanting to get away from them rather than embrace them. And it was really well conceived. There were elements of magic and stunts throughout the performance as well, and I think the magic, whilst obviously you know how it's done in some instances, just seeing it happen in front of you, you know what it's like going and watching a magic show. It just blows your mind when you see a trick and you're like, hang on a second, what? Loads of fire. Interestingly, the performers were very, very scantily clad. So it's a little bit like a burlesque show of sorts. Not necessarily suitable for a younger audience, and they do say that. No flash photography, no videos, no photography, no videos, so we couldn't do any of that. There are clips of it out there from people that have obviously ignored the warnings, but also I believe the media were allowed to film parts of it as well, so you know, do go and check that out if that's what you want to do, and it gives you an idea of what the show's like. But we do highly recommend going and watching it if you do get a chance. There's 4 show-ins of it a night, and we thoroughly enjoyed it. We came out so impressed. So finally we did Darkest Deal as well. That was our final house, 10 out of 10, and I think that was, I've seen reports of people saying this is like really high up there on their ranking. For me, I've given that a 5 out of 10. Lowest I've given any of the houses. I think the reason I've done that is the story just didn't vibe with me, and that was something that I was really excited about as well, because I loved like the New Orleans, Mississippi, bayou kind of stuff, and it just did not vibe with me at all. It didn't feel as though there was enough like actual blues music in there to like pull the story together. The sets were a little bit basic compared to some of the other original houses. You're going through a bar where they're, you know, doing the musical performances, and it just did not vibe with me at all. So I would put that at the bottom of my list. Now, in terms of like actual rankings, Darkest Deal at the bottom. We've then got Chucky, which I've put next. We've then got a few. I haven't got any 7 out of 10s anymore, because a couple of them went up. Dueling Dragons went up. I do like Stranger Things went down to 7 out of 10. Originally an 8. I think Stranger Things, it was because it was missing a couple of bits and pieces that I would have really liked to see in there. And then I've got a couple of 8s. I've got Dueling Dragons. I've got Yeti that went up. Exorcist stayed on 8 out of 10 after a couple of ones. Universal Monsters, 8 out of 10 the first time. I'd say 7 out of 10 the second time. But we did get I think we got a cast change right in the middle of our second go, and it meant that there were a couple of scares we're missing. So I'm not ranking it based on that really, because that's not fair. They have to swap out, and I got a really good run through the first time. These are all based on one run through, but I've given The Last of Us a 9 out of 10, Blood Moon 9 out of 10, and I've given Dr Oddfellow's Twisted Origins a 9 out of 10. Now all of those I've given that because of the sets and the story. The sets of all of those were absolutely phenomenal. They just really went above and beyond. You felt so engrossed in the story. The Last of Us gets
a bit of a forward momentum because of the story of The Last of Us and me knowing the show as well. But overall, I don't think there's been a bad house per se. I think if we got a bit of a better run through on Darkest Deal, it might go up to 6 out of 10. But you know, it didn't vibe for me. It could vibe for others. So I'm going Last of Us, top house. Dr Oddfellows, number 2, and Blood Moon, number 3. Those are our top 3 houses for 2023. Let us know down in the description what your top 3 houses are, and see whether your thoughts match any of ours. So we're going to step into Dr Oddfellow's collection of horrors. Halloween Horror Nights.
Because I did this, I was like, this is
And here we meet the man himself, Dr Oddfellow.
Calvin.
Symbol, the ram. Ruling planet, Mars. Ruling house, first house of South. Key traits, competitive, energetic, impulsive, fearless.
Where are my areas? Oh, yes. Good. Do you find yourself charismatic? Do you think that you're strong? I challenge you to take that strength and find the fear. Only through the fear can you obtain the power that we hope to achieve this evening. Once you have hold of it, never let it go. If you feel yourself being twisted, don't run away. Bring your friend. Out there is a look into my past that will show you your future. Destiny awaits. Enter now as this horror night begins.
Then later I will take your soul. There's no
So we're going to head into Dark Zodiac.
next scare zone we've got is Jungle of Doom, Expedition of Horror. This is in Central Park. During his jungle expeditions in the 1920s, Dr. Oddfellow decided to play with the laws of nature. Now his creations are ravenous and seeking revenge. So we're heading deep into the jungle. We've got Dr. Oddfellow here. Some of his creatures that are out. The other day when I walked in this, they didn't have any jungle noises, they had EDM. So next up in Diagon Alley, we got a little bit of a surprise, and we recorded some of this stuff the other day, so I'll put some of that footage in, mixed in with this. But we should have some Death Eaters lurking around. It's difficult to see, it's packed in here now, but I'll put some of the footage in from the other night when it was a little bit lighter, so you can see what they get up to. But there's a handful of them out in Diagon Alley. So here you've also got the Peacock Halloween Bar, and this is on the San Francisco waterfront. It's just a bar, basically. There's some guy called David S. Pumpkin here, who's from Saturday Night Live. I don't really watch Saturday Night Live, so I don't know. He's like it's a character, not a person. So it's somebody playing a character. It's very, very strange, really. But the next scare zone we've got is Shipyard 32, Horrors Unhinged. Travel through time and enter a 1940s shipyard where Dr. Oddfellow's created collections of oddities have arrived and broken free, making nightmares come to life. It's quite a cramped scare zone, this one. Some of the set pieces are fantastic in here. You've got crates, you've got shipping containers, you've got animal cages, things like that. He's got some lungs on him, that one.
dropped. And then you've got Oddfellow, Trade-In and Imports. That's a pretty cool scare zone, albeit quite tightly packed. The next scare zone we have is Vamp 69, Summer of Blood. So this, vampires have invaded a music festival back in 1969, and they're out to get the festival goers. So of course you've got all the hippie buses and things like that. Ah! And you got festival goers hiding from the vampires. I think this is Dr. Oddfellow making one of his appearances in the scare zones. Scare actors are phenomenal this year. So there's a biker gang of vampires that's come to the festival and taken it over, murdered everybody, and then really like wreaked havoc on Music Fest. So let's take a look at some of the Halloween Horror Nights merchandise. We've got the Originals t-shirt with the Darkest Deal, Yeti Campground Kills, Oddfellows, Twisted Origins, Jewel and Dragons, and Blood Moon Dark Offering. And then we got the IP house, where you got Last of Us, Stranger Things, Chucky, Universal Monsters, and The Exorcist, Believer. Got some shot glasses, we've got a See You in the Fog hat. They're going with this kind of palm reader vibe this year. This is the Total House t-shirt. This is the ladies version. They've got men's version as well. Got a Halloween Horror Nights pin badge with like the Ouija board mover. Oddfellows Scare Zones. Oddfellows Scare Zones hoodie. So you got little blind boxed figures. Got socks, we got a lanyard pouch, we got pin badges, magnets, we got a drawstring bag, another hoodie,
with the IP houses on the back. IP houses on a mug. Tumbler, koozie holder, beverage holder, loads of like little earrings, jewellery, things like that. 'Tis the Season t-shirt. See you in the fog. Loads of Chucky merchandise. Chucky plays a pivotal part in the event this year. Loads of Lil Boo merchandise. He was like a little cute figure last year. Dr Oddfellow's Travelling Oddities. The Exorcist Believer. Universal Monsters, so it's all kind of laid out in the houses section. You've got the Last of Us t-shirt, quite like that actually. Last of Us jumper. You got all these candles as well. I really like the smell of that one. Stranger Things. Loads and loads of Stranger Things merchandise, of course. That shouldn't be there. There you go, Vecna. Individual pin badges. Mystery pins in the boxes. This is a really cool one. Eddie's jacket hoodie thing. Really cool. And then that's pretty much all of the merchandise. There's a lot of it.
So that is the end of Halloween Horror Nights 2023 for us at Universal Studios Florida, and hasn't been a bad year at all. There's been some pretty incredible houses this year in terms of set design, scares, and just the general overall atmosphere that you have here at Universal Studios Florida. Our top houses being The Last of Us, based on the PlayStation video game, Dr Oddfellow's Twisted Origins, and Blood Moon. Just absolutely fantastic houses. I loved the set design in all three of those, and they're all quite different as well, so I'm quite happy that I've managed to pick three houses there that have been, you know, pretty good for us. Our worst one sadly being Darkest Deal. Unfortunately we just did not enjoy that house and it didn't vibe with us. But the scare zones and how the scare zones all link with Dr Oddfellow and how he's kind of taken over the event, it's kind of like an icon of sorts. It has been a lot of fun. And the show, Nightmare Fuel Revenge Dream, just a great show. We're really happy that we got to do that. Food throughout the event has been a highlight as always here at Halloween Horror Nights. Universal's really stepped up their game with food over the past couple of years, and I am here for it. Honestly, it's great. Keep it coming, Universal. So hopefully that's given you an idea as to whether you would like to come to Halloween Horror Nights, regardless of whether you watch this whilst the event's still coming and you come to 2023, or to give yourself an idea of what it's like for 2024 as well, because this does happen every year, generally around September and October time. You get it for pretty much the 2 months there. So if you have enjoyed the video throughout, give us a thumbs up. Do appreciate it. It really does help us out a lot, and it would be great if you could hit the subscribe button and bell icon to be notified when we post all new videos. We'll see you on the other side. Thanks.